G'day everyone, my name's Slothface and I've been working on this talent tree for Hunter for quite a lot of months and I wasn't sure whether to do this video, but I thought let's just get it out there. So we all know the problems with Hunter, right? No utility, barely any survivability, only good for DPS, and that's tuning dependent, high popularity of the class. It's got the lowest number of nodes in its class tree, only 40, highest number of 2-point talents in its class tree as well, highest number of throughput nodes in its class tree. There's just so many problems with this class tree, and I've been working on this to fix a lot of those issues. And this is obviously like this isn't perfect. I'm no dev, but this is what I've done. And in the interest of not making this video too long, let's get into it. This is my proposed or some ideas for a new Hunter class tree. Okay, yeah, let's just get cracking on into it. So first thing we've done, well, it's not the first thing we've done, it's one of the last things we've done, but we'll talk about this. Made baseline kill command, kill shot, and primal rage. I think that these things are really important. The primal rage thing is basically essential. Having lust on your pet as a hunter is just a nuisance at this point. It is tricky. Sometimes you have to swap pet or bring out a pet when you don't want it. It sucks. So change that. Just make it baseline. Makes sense. Um, Kill command and kill shot is something I did later to change the talent tree around, and it just makes a lot of sense and it works. So I think that they should be baseline also. Here we go, start of the tree. So this would be the point where survival and BM start. Kill command now has two charges. Alpha Predator is going up there, taking the damage portion of that away, and that would be for survival and BM. Improved kill shot is moved to the middle, and kill shot is obviously baseline. And then where MM starts would be concussive shot on this side, and that would be the first node taken up for the MM starting tree, which would replace wing clip. So it's not a new button, it's just wing clip becomes concussive shot. Underneath concussive shot for the MM tree, you have bursting shot, which is the same as the bursting shot on the MM spec tree right now. So moving bursting shot to the class tree. And here we have post haste. It's reduced to a 1-point talent. Trank shot is being moved up here. And over here, for a bit of flavor, we have endurance training. After your pet uses Growl, it takes 35% less damage for 2.5 seconds. This is great for soloing, but it's also great for those pet taunt tech moments in Mythic Plus or Dungeons or something when you try and taunt a frontal or taunt, not a frontal, a tank buster. And maybe your pet won't just insta die and have to res it if you do that, but that's for that situation. All right, underneath Trank Shot, we get Scare Beast. Underneath Post Haste, we get Trailblazer. This is Natural Mending, hasn't changed. This is Improved Man Pet, or whatever it's called, Wilderness Medicine or something it's called now. Same, that hasn't changed. And then for our interrupt, I'd like to see it, and this is something I just changed like half an hour before doing this video, but I'd like to see it become a switch node between counter shot and muzzle. I think that it would be really interesting for the option of survival hunters to have a ranged interrupt at a longer cooldown, or the option of BM hunter to have a shorter cooldown kick in melee. This is purely just a bit of flavor, though. I really don't have a huge invested interest in that, but I think it would be interesting. I think it would increase some hunter playstyles, which would be really cool. Trap, same. Survival of Fittest, same. Misdirection, same. And then these ones out here are Thick Hide, increased pet maximum HP by 25%. This was added just for a bit of that solo hunter playstyle flavor, maybe some Mage Tower style challenges. I think it might be something that if you took 2 points in Wilderness Medicine Improvement Pet, then you might want to take this as well, kind of, add some flavor there. And then off of Natural Mending, we've got Rejuvenating Wind. I've buffed it back to 20%. It got reduced to 16% recently, but I've taken away the maximum hit point, the max health portion of this and made it a 1-point talent. So Rejuve Wind is over here underneath Natural Mending. I think that makes the most sense, right? That's the top of the tree. Under Misdirect, in the center, we have a new talent, Duck and Cover. When you feign death, you get a shield for 5% of your maximum health, lasts 8 seconds. 2-point talent, so it would go to 10% max. This is from BFA. It is a, what is it called? Azurite, power or whatever. And then so we had this for all of BFA where we got a shield when we feign death. And then in Shadowlands, we had a DR when we feign death. And right now we have nothing on feign death, and it just doesn't feel as good. It feels better to have feign death be a small defensive. Maybe the numbers on this are too high, but this is what I think a lot of hunters are crying out for. A little bit more, something you can do to feign death before an ability comes out and take a bit less damage. So that is Duck and Cover. I think it's good, right? Lone Survivor and Nature's Endurance have remained the same. I'd like to see a little bit of a buff to Lone Survivor, to be honest. Maybe make it last even longer, or perhaps like increase its duration even more, or perhaps even have the additional charge tech that Obsidian Scales gets on on the Evoker. The Obsidian Scales additional charge, maybe. I don't know. I'd like to see a little buff to Lone Survivor, though. That would be my preference. Here we have the Intim High Explosive Trap, as normal. Over here, I've put Steel Trap. Now, everyone's going to moan at Steel Trap, right? Oh, Steel Trap. Oh, I don't want to have to throw that for DPS. No, I agree. Okay, so Steel Trap needs to be changed. It needs to be a utility button, in my opinion. I'm talking fast to get this video done because I'm going to be here flipping ages. The goal for Steel Trap is that it should be a single target skill shot root. It's damage. The DPS portion should be small, negligible, not a big deal. And it should be able to take damage that doesn't break industry instantly. So I like to see Steel Trap used as like in the same situation as a druid would use a root, right? Druid's going to root something in position. Steel Trap should be used in the same way. I think that that'd be good. Maybe increase its duration, lower its damage some more, whatever. But Steel Trap should be a utility button, in my opinion. So that's why it's up here, underneath these traps, next to the other CC in the tree. On this side of the tree, underneath Natural Mending, Survival of the Fittest, I've put Hunters Patience. While you have an active pet or no enemies are within 12 yards of you, you heal for 2% of your max HP every 5 seconds. In addition, Exhilaration heals you for an additional 50% of your maximum health, but all that healing occurs over 12 seconds. And then just to explain, Rejuve Wind would begin after that 12 seconds. That's Rejuve Wind here. So this is taken from the Soulbind, where the Kyrian pot would not heal you instantly and would instead heal you a lot more but be a huge hot on you. I think that would be an interesting tech choice for Hunter, to push Exhilaration but not have Exil just be another health pot and have it be a big hot on you instead. So that is the idea behind this talent. And it also kind of adds the soul bond thing that survival has, where you just heal every 5 seconds. Yeah, so that's Hunter's Patience. That's the idea behind that talent. Okay, I'm going to just move on. I'm not going to explain too much because it just takes too long, but there you go. Write in the comments what you think of these talents. Hunter's Patience there, Steel Trap there. Right, moving down. Born to be Wild, moving to the center of the tree. This is a staple in every hunter build everywhere, so it should be right there. And then we've got Scattershot, Binding Shot to the left and Camo to the right. No changes there. And now the next row down. Here we have Improved Traps. Improved Traps, I made a 1-point talent. And I kind of bundled all the good trap enhancements into this one talent. So it reduces the cooldown of tar trap, steel trap, explosive trap, freezing trap. Steel trap can withstand more damage before breaking. You get the entrapment talent in here as well, where tar trap is activated. It roots everyone for 4 seconds. And then I'm not sure about this last line, but I added it in anyway just to see high explosive trap knocks enemies up instead of away. This is a good PvE option, but maybe people won't like it in PvP, etc. So maybe that needs a little bit of work. Maybe that's too strong of a talent, I don't know. But improved traps in this location underneath trap, 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 and then improved traps makes the most sense to me. At the moment, as you can see on the main tree, improved traps is in the center of the tree, and all it does is cooldown reduction, and it's a 2-point talent. It is terrible. So now it is good, in my opinion, and worth taking. Although, as I said, that last line might need a bit of work on. And then on this side, underneath Hunter's Patience, Lone Survivor, we've got Sentinel. Now, in my opinion, in the current way that Sentinel works, it's a 2-point talent, right? Just because they're not on top of each other with an O2 doesn't mean this isn't 2 points right here, right? You got Sentinel, which is the actual spell, and then you've got the reason the spell's any good ever. Because you're like pushing this without this is like, there's no reason that this is 2 points. So I baked it into 1 point as a switch node so that you get Sentinel with both, and then you get either the Leech on one side or the Party Unhindered Vision on the other side, so that this Sentinel can be a 1-point talent instead of 2, and a bit of a tech choice there, a bit of a utility spell that might be interesting. One little point on the side of the tree, pick it up or don't. Okay, let's move on. Underneath Born to be Wild, I've put Pathfinding, which I've reduced to 5% move speed, and I've reduced to a 1-point talent. This could go back to a 2-point talent, I guess. It is closed off, so it doesn't link to anything. So if this went back to, a 2-point talent, and this went back to 3%, and then and then this was 6% here, that would be acceptable. There we go. That's the old pathfinding. I prefer it as a 1-point talent, but I could see how this is acceptable. So there's pathfinding in the center of the tree there. Now we get to some new stuff. Here we go. So off of Scattershot and Binding Shot, we have Binding Shackles. Reworked Binding Shackles completely, because the current version of Binding... Let's just show you how terrible this is. This is the worst talent in the game. Targets rooted by Binding Shot, knocked back by high explosive shot. Deal less damage to you specifically for 8 seconds afterwards. This is just absolutely garbage. It's not even like a defensive for the tank. It is like in PvE, this is complete garbage. Anyway, so here's my new version. Targets hit by Scattershot or Binding Shot are tethered to the location by dragging chains. When the duration of Scatter or Binding is finished, enemies are dragged back to the location for 3.5 seconds. Abilities that break roots also break this effect. So this would be like the Sylvanas chains from P1 Sylvanas encounter, if you remember. I'd like to see if you take this talent, then both of these abilities, Scattershot and Binding Shot, have like chain animation on them or something. And I'd like to see the enemy pulled back so you could run against it and you could still cast and all that stuff. It's not a root, but it just drags you into position. That would be really unique piece of utility for Hunter. I would really enjoy that. That is, I know it's a bit like off the wall, but that's my idea for Binding Shackles. Because currently Binding Shackles is garbage. On this side, Camouflage. Off of Camouflage, we have Ghillie Suit. While camouflaged, your cooldowns refresh 15% faster. Maybe this is too strong, maybe 10% faster, something like that. The way Camouflage works is that it lasts 1 minute, and then the cooldown is 1 minute, and the cooldown starts when you exit camo, right? So you're always not camouflaged for at least a minute. So you can't just constantly be stealth and get this, but it makes it a cool ability to like pop between packs in Mythic Plus or a dungeon or while you're out in the world or something and get some CDR from that. That was my idea. Yep, perhaps too strong, but really cool. So there's Ghillie Suit. And now it gets even more crazy. Over here, Pod Tender. This is what every hunter's been crying out for. Why does no one have Pod Tender? If anyone tells me that Pod Tender is too strong, then I just point to the fact that the tankiest class in Shadowlands, Warlock, had Pod Tender for the whole expansion, and it was not 1 point considered too strong that Warlock had a cheat death. So please give Hunter Pod Tender. Please. Please. And that would be a switch node with Roar of Sacrifice. I think that the reason for this is Roar of Sacrifice was brought onto the tree so that hunters weren't forced to get like an AoE damage reduction in PvP, and they could pick up another PvP talent, etc. Pod Tender is a little bit toxic in PvP, so having that on the switch node with Roar of Sacrifice might mean that Pod Tender doesn't make it into Arena too much. I haven't really considered PvP a lot in this rework, but this has been my little bit for that. So Roar of Sacrifice, switch node with Pod Tender. Switch node on the other side, we have Marksman's Advantage. This is the conduit from Shadowlands. You take 3% less damage from the target of your Hunter's Mark. At the moment, there is no reason to cast Hunter's Mark at all, and this would give us a reason, and I think this was a really, really great conduit, and I enjoyed casting Hunter's Mark again, so Marksman's Advantage comes back, and then the new talent, which I dreamed up out of nowhere, Flashbang. Allies hit by your flare have their interrupt cooldown reduced by 4 seconds. And then I increased the cooldown of flare to make up for this. So basically my idea here would be, I think that everyone's been giving, classes have been given more AoE stops, more AoE stops, more AoE stops. But there's not really an option to give your allies more kicks, and this would be that, right? So you run into a pack, 3 people kick something, kick, and then their kicks don't come up again quick enough. Instead you flare on top of your pack or your allies. Their kicks are going to come up sooner, and it's a good like high level organization tech choice for Mythic Plus and other raid encounters that require a lot of kicks. You could quickly stack up a bunch of people and flare on top of them to get all their kicks to come back up. That's my idea for Flashbang. Might be good, might not. I don't know. Tell me what you think. And then Wailing Arrow I brought onto the class tree. This should be a utility button. It should not be a DPS button. It feels awful to cast Wailing Arrow for DPS. It also should be a blanket silence. I'm not sure if that's been changed or what, but to have such a long cast and then a long travel time and then actually have to interrupt a spell to get it to silence is awful. This is not a reactive interrupt. This is a predetermined choice that you're going to Wailing Arrow this pack so that it doesn't cast, so that it is pre-silence. So this should be an AoE silence. If that's too strong, increase the cooldown. But Wailing Arrow should definitely be, in my opinion, on the class tree. And here it is. Reduce the damage of it if need be. But I want an AoE silence on the class tree, not in my spec trees. So that's where I put it here. And then we move down to the last point of the tree. Now, the last part of the tree in the current state of Hunter is all damage. Damage. It's all DPS, all throughput in this section. I've changed that because it feels really bad right now to basically only have like 2/3 of your tree be a class tree and the last half not. So we've changed that. We've still got Master Marksman here. We put serrated shots here. We've put explosive shot and barrage here. And then we've given Serpent Sting the Sentinel treatment, right? So we got Sentinel here was basically 2 points, just stretched out for basic spell and then the actual good part about the spell. Serpent Sting was exactly the same. Basic spell, actual good part about the spell. It's basically a 2-point talent and it's just been stretched out to look like it's not a 2-point talent. I have completely changed that to just one switch node. You either get Serpent Sting Poison Injection or you get Serpent Sting Hydra's Bite in the one talent. And that is that. No other change. Underneath Serrated Shot, so that it gets the extra bleed damage, extra increased damage, and extra execute damage. Boom, boom, boom. Right. Then, so that is the far left and far right covered. Middle. Rexar's Teachings. Damage taken from area of effect. Attacks reduced by 3/6%. Maximum health increased by 4/8%. These are stolen from other talents already. This is the maximum health buff from Rejuvenating Wind put in over here. And this is also the Hunter's Avoidance. I've just put them together into Rexar's Teachings, new talent that I dreamed up. So that is there, and you still get those effects back at the end of your tree. Okay, and then underneath Rexar's Teachings, we have Stampede / Death Chakram, no changes there. And then we have brand new stuff. And bear with me here, because it does make sense. Here we go. Cheetah's Ambush. Aspect of the cheetah increases the range of all your abilities by 10 yards for the duration. So this includes melee abilities like, from Survival Hunter, even your butchery and things like that. But also, obviously, as a marksman hunter, you could sprint around the very edge of a room and still gain range, and you get 10 extra yards for the duration of cheetah. And then here is the interesting part. Aspect of the pack. Aspect of the cheetah gives all your allies 50% of all of its effects. So this becomes a raid-wide speed now. Like a Druid Roar or a Windrush Totem, you now have aspect of the pack. You push cheetah, all your friends are running half as fast as you, right? So you gain the full bonus of cheetah, they gain 50% of those effects. So if you run 30% faster, they're running 15% faster, right? For the duration of cheetah. So this gives you some raid utility to pop cheetah and have it be a move speed for your team. But it would also give the effects of Cheetah's Ambush, which means you will get 10 yards of extra range. They will get 50% of their effects, so they will get 5 yards of extra range to all their abilities for the duration of Cheetah. So that is my idea for some raid utility there. It's only 5 yards, but it could be quite useful for some bit of extra uptime during that, mechanic where you have to run away. You might still be able to get some extra damage in. So that's my Cheetah's Ambush aspect of the pack idea for a capstone here. And now here is the other side. Aspect of the Chameleon. Aspect of the Chameleon is still a spell in game. It needs it does basically nothing, and no one ever pushes it. So here's its rework. Gain a buff depending on your chosen chameleon color. Brown, blue, white, green, or purple. Attack power, int, stam, physical, damage increase, magic damage increase. This is the scroll buffs from BFA, right? This is you gain an attack power buff. This would be Battle Shout. It doesn't stack with Battle Shout, obviously. So this is the situation where if your group doesn't have one of these classes, you get to have 60% of their effect given to your group by the hunter. Say your warrior is away that day, well, you can give 3% attack power instead of 5. Your mage doesn't show up for one night of raid, you can give everyone 3% in instead of the 5% in. And it's a little bit better than just pugging a mage or something like that, right? So this is that, fill the gap thing that people have wanted for Hunter for quite a while. And this is my idea for that. So aspect of the chameleon, and then you would take this talent, and then you would cast it in its various color, however the UI would work for that, and you would get this buff for yourself. And then improved aspect of the chameleon would give the buff to the rest of your party or raid. So you might want to take this in Mythic Plus to give your group stamina when you don't have a priest, so that you can all live your high Mythic Plus key a bit easier. And you would take this to give that to all your the rest of your party or raid. Or you're in raid and everyone does show up and you got a full comp, so you don't need this, so you can take this instead, right? So that is aspect of the chameleon. So this is your raid utility. This is your group utility options here. Right, this is going on a bit long, so let me quickly show you how you might build the tree if you were to say do some content. So let's say you're a BM hunter, you're going to start with Alpha Predator, you're going to get your second charge of kill command. You're probably going to want the improved kill shot to gain DPS, because this is a DPS node. Yes, I know I said I didn't like them, but here's one anyway. All right, now we have access to a lot of things in the tree. Post haste we can get, your kick you can get, your trank shot you can get, your natural mending you can get, survival if it is misdirection, and let's say you want tar trap. Now you can move down. You get lone survivor or something else. You'll get born to be wild. You'll get pod tender. You'll get marksman's advantage. You want your stun. Where are we at? We're at 15. We need to hit 20. So we got 5 points to choose in actual things. So let's try and keep ourselves alive better. Let's say this content's quite hard and we want more healing. Let's get Rejuve Wind. Let's get Sentinel for the 5% leech. Let's get Duck and Cover for the defensive here. And let's say we also want... Do we need camo? No. Let's say we don't. Let's get Binding Shot. Now we can move down again. We obviously want the DPS, so we get the DPS. We want more DPS, we get more DPS. We want Death Chakram, we want the health anyway, so we're going to get Rexar's Teaching, and we're going to get Death Chakrams here. Now we're at 29. We got 2 points to spend. And we can spend them anywhere we want, right? So we can get, let's say we need the mage buff, we get the mage buff. Let's say we want the stand buff, we get the stand buff. Let's say all our buffs are here for raid tonight. We don't want this. We can get this. We can get the run utility. Extra running. Let's say we don't need any of those. We don't. This is a fairly stationary fight. Everyone's here. Let's say we want Wailing Arrow. We can get Wailing Arrow and Hunter's Patience. We can get extra move speed. We can get the Binding Shackles to stop those ads moving. We want to stop those ads moving even more. We want Steel Trap. We need Scare Beast for this. We need Trailblazer because it's Mystic Suck and we want to run through the intermission phases faster, much faster. All right? Or we want, we need the Hunter's Patience. Or we might need the single target slow over here and the Steel Trap. So it then gives you the utility flex spots to move wherever you want it. Say you don't need Sentinel on this fight, right? You take Sentinel away. You want Hunter's Patience instead, right? There we go. We swapped that out for that because we don't want to be shooting these off. We want there's more rot damage in this fight, so we want the extra periodic healing on ourselves. This actually means you have flex talents to move around, and it works, in my opinion, far better than the current tree. Current tree, 40 nodes, 54 talent points. Sloth's version of the tree, 43 nodes, 51 talent points. But notably, when you get to the end of the tree and you pick up the DPS you want, you then have flex talents to use, which is really, really important to making a class tree feel good and feel like you can fit in, you can use different talents for different situations. All right, quickly, notably, we made kill shot, kill command, and primal rage baseline. We took primal rage away from the ferocity pets, and my proposition for the ferocity pet spell is something similar to this. Bloodthirsty, 2-minute cooldown for the next 10 seconds. All single target damage done by this pet heals the hunter and, I don't know, 1 or 2 nearby injured allies or something. Like a nature's vigil type thing for the ferocity pet. I don't know if that's good. Maybe it's bad, but that's my brief idea there. And notably, there's a few other things I just want to mention. Number one is Arctic Bowlers got taken out, and I would kind of wouldn't mind seeing it return either in the class tree, maybe move Rexar's teachings, put Arctic Bowlers in, and put these effects somewhere else in the tree. You know, maybe put the maximum health into natural mending and put the AoE damage reduction into pathfinding, something like that, and put bowlers there. I don't know. I just thought of that then. The other one is Keen Eyesight. Got taken out, which is 4% crit. I think the class can just be tuned better, that it doesn't need that 4% crit to deal enough damage, but if there's some sort of breakpoint that the devs are trying to hit by making hunters have 4% more crit than every other class, then I don't know, bake it into something, bake it into Master Marksman or something and give us 4% more crit. I don't know why that would be a thing. Honorable mentions to bowlers are Killer Instinct, obviously got removed from the switch talent of Alpha Predator from the bottom. Killer Instinct should go into the BM Hunter spec tree. I'd like to see that. And Readiness, obviously, is going to have to be reworked somehow because it is an extension of Wailing Arrow in the MM tree. So rework Readiness in the Marksman tree, please. There's also an upgrade for Bursting Shot in the Marksman tree that can be baked into Bursting Shot or changed in any way you like. And as I said, Arctic Bowlers is the last one. Okay, this video is going on too long, so thank you for listening. This is Talent Tree Manager. I will leave the paste bin for this in the description below, and you can download Talent Tree Manager yourself, get the paste bin for this that I've created, and give it a shot. See what you think, move things around. Let me know your feedback in the comments. Appreciate you guys. Good luck. Have fun.